First case of a degenerative brain disease linked to constant head knocks in a New Zealand professional rugby player has been confirmed. Billy Guyton, a former Super Rugby player, Tasman, Mako and Maori All Black halfback, died last year of a suspected suicide at the age of 33. Now, a detailed examination of his brain shows he had chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE.
Wow, so yeah, look, this is a little bit impromptu, but since it's fresh in my mind, if you, I guess in New Zealand, there's just add, Sunday is a sort of like a current affairs, news affairs program, which sadly is about to be axed in June, which is such a terrible shame because it generally produces some really, really good stories. And today, tonight's one about, certainly is one of the best, and it will, it's kind of a shame to think that Sunday is about to end, but yeah, anyway, this is, at least the story about, Billy Guyton, the late Billy Guyton, of course, aired, at least it managed to get out before the show ended. Show ends in June, and yeah, look, it's a harrowing tale, as we all expect. Look, I get, that, yeah, and, I mean, obviously that might be some, like, journalistic licenses, and I mean, it is slanted sort of against New Zealand rugby. Whether that's the truth or not, I think, we need to dig. I mean, that's really down up to you. And I think certainly there is a lot of, I think that is a very complex issue and a very tragic issue. I'm not siding with New Zealand rugby or anything, but, there is, I think it certainly is, certainly doesn't paint a very positive picture about the All Blacks, and certainly the Blues are I think one observation was, I think they were talking about how the Blues, the Blues management sort of brushed off Billy Guyton and said it was just mental health and kind of didn't really support him, and that management now kind of has gone, fortunately. And but it's scary to think how many others, when Billy Guyton was at the Blues, how many others could potentially, could have suffered the same, could have gone down that same route. And look, I mean, there's been so much talk about head injuries in rugby. It's not a straightforward issue. Obviously, you want to, it's just a serious issue. And look, I'm personally, as a parent, I've got a son, who's keen on rugby and wanting to tackle, and, likes the tackling part. But I think in recent times, there's always the awareness of head injuries because, look, I think it's a contact sport, and I think, firstly, I'm not saying we should eliminate tackling and all that, but what I'm saying is I think there needs to be sort of like the head, I think, and I think it's getting better now. The head is sort of a sacred area which needs to be protected. Because, if you have an injury to your brain, you just never recover, and I guess that's in my line of work. I see brain injuries, head injuries, it is the prognosis for recovery is shockingly low compared to, other things, even cancer or a heart attack, or, you just don't recover. You're just never the same from head injuries. You see people, professionals, just, really intelligent people, just never the same. And their quality of life. And I think, going back to Billy Guyton, it was very clear that, the game that he truly loved just really let him down, I guess. I mean, he gave his body up and his head just, and and paid the up, and it's such a shame that they didn't really, they neglected him. And I guess, you see, I think it's not just rugby, football, NFL, certainly NFL's, I guess, funnily enough, was the pioneer, in terms of raising the profile of head injuries. You've had Junior Seau, he was diagnosed with CT, subsequently after his suicide about 10, 11 years ago. Aaron Hernandez, who was convicted multiple murderer, who is a former Patriots tight end, it was discovered that he had CTE. And of course, now you've Billy Guyton, who, whose legacy, I think, if there was one positive out of this whole tragic thing, is that, he gave his brain up for research, and they confirmed the stage 2 CTE, which she is the first rugby player to be diagnosed with CTE. And yeah, so it is, there's a legacy out of this. It's that, that rugby players are not, rugby unions, rugby players are aware that, this is a serious issue. This could happen to them. And yeah, so it is definitely worth a watch. It's on TVNZ on demand. And also, they've actually put it on YouTube. New Zealand Rugby needs to start. I think they're doing as much as they can, but they could be doing more. It is a complex issue, as I say. So, and look, I'm not going to cast judgment because we don't know what's going to happen under there. And I don't want to cast Mark Robinson as a villain because I think, at the end of the day, he's a series. There's two sides of the story, but certainly, I think a lot more needs to be done. And yeah, the fight has to keep going. So yeah, so that's my thoughts. Just fresh off watching that. So thinking about, and thinking about Billy Guyton and Junior Sal, and one can hope that amidst this tragedy, that the bright hope is that no one else has to ever suffer what he went through. So yeah, those are my thoughts those are just my thoughts.